fight for the First Amendment, led by moderator Jim Acosta, host of The Jim Acosta Show, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer, award-winning journalist Terry Moran, and civil rights leader, best-selling author, and Committee for the First Amendment co-chair Rashad Robinson.
Wow. My goodness. This is incredible. Why did I not get frog ears or frog eyes? Should I put one on? What do you think? I don't know. As an old news guy, the hair is very important. You know, I'm 6'2" with the hair. You know, thank you very much. Why not? You know what? As a wise man once said, we'll do it live. Welcome to the National Press Club. It has not been renamed the Trump National Press Club. And it never fucking will. For those of you who watch my show, you know I say the F word all the time, so we just say fuck it, right? If we're not going to say fuck in a time like this, when are we going to say it, ladies and gentlemen? That is my position, and I think it makes a lot of sense. We have an esteemed panel joining us this evening to talk about this fight for the First Amendment. That was one of the very first things that Trump went after in Trump 1.0, and he, of course, went after it again this second time around. We've got a great panel. Let's have everybody introduce themselves, starting with you, Rashad, and then we'll go down the line here.
Hey, everyone. I love this energy. I'm Rashad Robinson. I'm a civil rights leader, and I am the co-chair of the Committee for the First Amendment, working to protect the First Amendment all around the country, moving artists and activists to stand up.
I'm Terry Moran. I'm an independent journalist.
I am Matt Meyer, governor of the first state, and there are more frogs in this room than there are people in my state. Thank you.
Very good. We love the first state. There was a whole thing, we would go get the beer. Could we get the beer on Sundays, or you couldn't get the beer on Sundays?
Get the beer on Sunday.
That,
Any day.
that was,
24/7.
oh, very good. Okay.
24/7.
I remember that, being a DC kid, going to the beach. Anyway, I digress. We've got important things to talk about. Governor, let me start with you first. You have not been governor of Delaware for very long, but one of the very first things that you did was stand up for the First Amendment, stand up for the free press. And tell us about that.
That's right. Two of the first bills I signed were making sure you cannot ban books in our great state of Delaware. And the second thing was making sure slap lawsuits. There were these lawsuits where people try to misuse the First Amendment to prevent people from letting their voice be heard, and we're not going to have any of that in our first state. More broadly, what I'd say is what I'm seeing with the First Amendment, but not just the First Amendment, across our community in Delaware and across the country, is that billionaires are taking control. That we have a president who has used the worst of Citizens United to put this country at the disposal of a very few people, very few privileged people who want a country that's very, very different from what you and I want. And they're controlling the media. They're controlling what the citizens of Delaware see and hear and understand. They're controlling what each of you understand. And tonight in the State of the Union, I think we're going to see more of that, of media manipulation, information manipulation. I so appreciate events like this where people are standing up and saying, we the people are stronger than these few. We need to fight to win our country. We are winning. Look at the numbers. We are winning. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you, Governor. And I can see the sign that says damn straight right over your head there. So it reminds me a little bit of another Delawarean back in the day who might have been down the street, and if only he were still there. But anyway, Terry Moran, independent journalist. Terry was being modest, a longtime ABC News correspondent, White House correspondent, Supreme Court reporter. Terry's one of the best in the business. And, you know, Terry, you were ahead of the curve in one very big way. For those of you who don't remember, Terry put out a tweet about Stephen Miller and it made a lot of news and pissed off some corporate overlords at ABC. Terry, talk about that and why that was important, because to me, that was a sneak preview of coming attractions. Look what has happened with respect to Terry. Yeah, look what has happened with the effect that Stephen Miller has had on this country. Look at the effect. ICE in Minnesota, the detention centers, which I want to talk more about. But Terry, tell us about that moment, why you did it, and what do you think it means going forward?
Well, I wrote it because I thought it was true.
There you go.
And you know, how about that? That is actually why it's become a big deal. It's become a big deal in my life. It got me fired, but it's become a big deal in some ways, which is odd. And I will say there was nothing planned about it. Although I will also add, because it was posted at 5 minutes after midnight, some people it was not a drunk tweet. I promise. What it was a very sober. What it was, in fact, I was quite proud of it in many ways. Still am. Yeah. What it was something that had been, I'd been reporting on this administration, interviewed the president, had a good time with that, and then over the course of days and weeks, it was just gnawing at me, fretting, right, tossing and turning about our country and what's happening to it. And I was out walking the dog, so I'm blaming the dog for this. And I just said, that effing guy, because I'm not going to drop that.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I can't. It's my dear mother in heaven. But it was in the middle of the afternoon. I was pondering it, and then, we had dinner and watched, what was it? We watched some movie. It was a George Clooney movie, so I'm blaming George Clooney as well.
Good night and good luck, maybe, or something.
No, that's what everybody says. Did you go see the play, and were you inspired? No, it was, the kids had never seen it. I can't remember. Anyway. Ocean's 11. That's what it was, which is a great family movie. But if you want to keep your job, don't watch it. Anyway, so we got into bed, and as one does, is on the phone, and I kind of had come up with something in my head, and I posted it. I thought, okay. And just before I hit send, actually, I thought to myself, this is hot. This is, hard language. But then I thought, it's a description. I thought, this is a description of the public man that we see every day that is just horrifying as an American public official. Yes, and it was, I guess, getting to me. Anyway, the next morning, you got to take that down, da-da-da-da-da. I will say this, the White House made clear that if I wasn't fired, all right, I'm telling a tale out of school here, ABC News was like, you're going to be on a 2-week suspension if we can keep it to that, but it's going to the West Coast. And this is the only reason I mention that, because that's the corporate pressure on Disney. And then I knew it was done at that point. But here's what I learned from it. Now that I'm in independent media, where so much is happening, I love it. The First Amendment isn't, a statement of law. It isn't even a commitment to law. It is a practice, and we have to practice it because we can't count on a lot of institutions to do it for us.
That's right, and that's what tonight is all about in many ways. I mean, we're here guarding the First Amendment right here, all of you with us tonight. You're defending it. You're on the front lines, and all of you who supported us tonight, thank you. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. It means a lot. Even the frogs. Especially the frogs. And Rashad, tell us about how you've been on the front lines of this battle for the First Amendment in this country. And you've been working with somebody who I think the audience might know something about. Tell us about that.
Well, the Committee for the First Amendment is a project that was founded or refounded by Jane Fonda, whose father was part of the original Committee for the First Amendment. And it includes over 3,000 artists and celebrities who are working to use their power to help more people recognize what's at stake and also to challenge their own industry about what is happening, both the consolidation of media, the ways in which corporations are engaged. But let me be clear about what's happening. As someone who has led the largest boycott in American history, which was the $7 billion boycott against Facebook because of the ways in which their algorithms and the ways in which their corporate profits put us in harm's way, is that corporations every single day are trying to make us believe that the inequality that we see in the world is unfortunate rather than unjust. And the ways in which they're trying to make us feel like it's unfortunate rather than just is because they want us to ask for charitable solutions to structural problems. They want us to be able to say that we send water bottles to communities that don't have clean water instead of cleaning the pipes. We do after-school programs instead of actually dealing with the inequality in public education. And along the way, they want to take away our voice in the process. But what I've understood every single day is that we will always lose in the back rooms if we don't have people lined up at the front door. And so our work today and our work moving forward is to be able to raise our voices in very clear ways and to hold the enablers accountable and to say that you cannot come for our money by day and try to take away our vote by night, try to make us unsafe by night, try to make it harder for us to be able to get health care and all of the other things we deserve. So our First Amendment is why I get to sit here today. But I also want us to recognize that part of this work is recognizing that there is no time machine that we should be trying to get in and go backwards. I am a black, gay civil rights leader, and besides besides like clothes and music, there's no time in the past that I want to go back to. I don't want to get out of that time machine and see how things are working. So our work today is also about what do we do together to build the future that we all deserve, a future that we actually haven't ever experienced. That is going to be the work about coming together and facing those that stand in our way. And that is the work that we have to do to move forward.
There you go. Wonderful. And Governor, Governor, one of the things that Rashad just said that I want to pick up on, he said a lot that I want to pick up on, but he's talking about our vote. Our vote is our voice. It is an expression of our freedom of speech, freedom of thought. And right now, Donald Trump, I think, is trying to damage that. He's trying to pull a fast one with this SAVE Act or Save America Act. They give it a different name every week because they're trying to pull a fast one. And they want to, he says, oh, it's just voter ID. You know, what's the big deal with voter ID? Putting that to the side, tucked in that legislation is a provision that would basically hand over state voter rolls to the Department of Homeland Security. Not that he would do anything nefarious with that. Oh, of course not. But Governor, what are your thoughts on all of that?
I have a mentor, not in politics, just in life, who shortly after I was a public school teacher, ran for a county office. He sat me down and he said, you have the trust of the people right now. You're new, you're shiny, right? You have the trust of the people. You only get that once, and you can lose that. And we can all think of people who have lost that. Our president has lost the credibility of the American people. And so when he stands up and says something like the save, do you think someone who led us into January 6th is looking to save our votes? He has no credibility. And so you can look at the passport requirements and birth certificate requirements and the hints that ICE is coming to polling places near you. And we all need to stand up. I'm going to do my part as governor of Delaware. I've spent a few days in D.C. with Democratic and even a few Republican colleagues who are raising their hands saying they're going to stand up and do their part. But we also need you to do your part. Let's stand up to this nonsense.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is not who we are.
That's right. And Terry, another thing that Rashad mentioned, and Rashad, I feel like you're doing a better job than myself moderating this, but you brought up the power of the boycott. There was a time, Terry, when it was sort of conventional wisdom, oh, boycotts don't make a difference. What